Long before Joseph became a ruler in Egypt, he lived through one of the darkest seasons of his life, a season of betrayal, loneliness, and prison. Joseph, the son of Jacob, had already suffered greatly. His jealous brothers sold him into slavery, and he was taken far from home into Egypt. There, he was bought by Potiphar, an officer serving Pharaoh. Even as a slave, Joseph worked faithfully. He was honest, hardworking, and wise. Potiphar quickly noticed that everything Joseph handled prospered. Soon, Joseph was placed in charge of the entire household, but trouble was waiting. The false accusation. Potiphar's wife became attracted to Joseph. Day after day, she tried to tempt him. "Come with me," she whispered repeatedly. But Joseph refused. "How could I do such a wicked thing against my master and against God?" he answered. One day, when nobody else was in the house, she grabbed Joseph by his robe. Joseph quickly pulled away and ran, leaving the robe behind in her hands. Humiliated and furious, Potiphar's wife screamed for help. Holding Joseph's robe, she falsely accused him of attacking her. When Potiphar heard the story, his anger burned. Without giving Joseph a chance to defend himself, he ordered that Joseph be thrown into prison. Joseph had done the right thing, yet he was punished for it. The heavy prison doors slammed shut behind him. For many people, that would have been the end of hope, but not for Joseph. Life inside the prison. The prison was cold, dark, and filled with men who had lost everything. Joseph could have become bitter. He could have blamed God. He could have given up. Instead, he remained faithful. Over time, the prison keeper noticed Joseph's honesty and wisdom. Joseph treated others kindly, worked diligently, and never stopped believing that God still had a purpose for his life. Soon, the prison keeper trusted Joseph so much that he placed him in charge of the other prisoners. Even in prison, Joseph became a leader. The prisoners respected him. The guards trusted him. Yet deep inside, Joseph still carried pain. He had been betrayed by his brothers, falsely accused, and forgotten in prison for crimes he never committed. Still, he waited. The strange dreams. One night, 2 new prisoners arrived. Pharaoh's chief cupbearer, Pharaoh's chief baker. Both men had offended Pharaoh and were placed in prison under Joseph's care. One morning, Joseph noticed that both men looked troubled. "Why do your faces look so sad today?" Joseph asked. They explained that each had experienced a strange dream, but nobody could interpret them. Joseph answered calmly, "Interpretations belong to God. Tell me your dreams." The cupbearer spoke first. In his dream, he saw a vine with 3 branches. The branches budded and produced ripe grapes. He squeezed the grapes into Pharaoh's cup and placed it into Pharaoh's hand. Joseph listened carefully. Then he explained, "The 3 branches represent 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will restore you to your position." The cupbearer's face filled with hope. Then the baker shared his dream. He had 3 baskets of bread on his head, but birds came and ate the bread from the top basket. Joseph's expression grew serious. "The 3 baskets also represent 3 days," Joseph said quietly. "But in 3 days, Pharaoh will execute you." The words were difficult to hear. And 3 days later, on Pharaoh's birthday, everything happened exactly as Joseph had said. The cupbearer was restored. The baker was executed. Joseph's gift had proven true. Before the cupbearer left prison, Joseph made one request. "Please remember me when you return to Pharaoh. Tell him I was taken from my homeland and imprisoned unfairly." The cupbearer promised. But after he returned to the palace, he forgot Joseph completely. Forgotten in prison days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Months turned into years. Joseph waited in prison while the cupbearer lived once again in Pharaoh's palace. Imagine the heartbreak Joseph must have felt. Every day he may have hoped, "Maybe today someone will come for me." But nobody came. Still, Joseph refused to surrender to despair. He continued serving faithfully. He continued trusting God. And although Joseph could not see it yet, God was preparing something far greater than freedom from prison. God was preparing Joseph for a throne. The lesson of Joseph's prison. Story. Joseph's prison experience teaches powerful lessons. Doing the right thing is not always immediately rewarded. Difficult seasons can prepare people for greater purpose. Faithfulness matters even when nobody notices. God can turn suffering into destiny. Joseph entered prison as a forgotten slave, but he would leave prison as a man on the path to becoming one of the most powerful leaders in Egypt. And it all began in the darkness of a prison cell.